Today is the first day of my market weekend, as I call it, my sweater market, but it's called the Stratford Makers Market. I did it last year with my sweaters and it went really well. I'm excited for this year, of course, because I want people to see my sweaters, I want people to love my sweaters and buy them and love them, obviously. This year I splurged a bit and I opted for a corner booth. You do have to pay extra for that. I don't remember the cost, but I'm going to put it here on the screen for you. I know it's a bit excessive, but last year was this cost, and I was in a booth along the wall. So here's a picture of my booth from last year. And so people, when they were walking past, like the row of booths, they could only see the front two sweaters on the rack. So this year, I opted for a corner booth, basically right across from where it was last year, and which is nice because people know where to find me. And you know, you can't walk past the sweaters without looking at the entire rack. That's why I splurged and I'm excited for it. I'm also taking my double palm beanies and some like regular hats and the bucket hats from the Whispers of Summer collection. So we'll see how that goes. I did buy a mannequin this year. Her name is Bonnie. She is just like a half mannequin. So from like her neck basically down to like her butt cheeks. And she's on a stand. So I'm excited for that and it's going to be wonderful. As I mentioned in my crochet and chat video, this one here with the scrappy turtles, I can't film during the market just because 1, it's loud in there, 2, there's going to be Christmas music playing, 3, my iPhone battery needs to be replaced really badly, so I know my iPhone battery is not going to last. I do have my battery backup thingy to take with me. I do plan on getting it replaced probably next week after I make some money this weekend. And I'm excited, so it's going to be fun. I'll try to film like a bit about my day, but as I said, once the event starts, I can't film. The first thing I have to do this morning, and my cart is already partially packed. Something that's really great about this event, you can start loading in at 9 a.m. The event doesn't start till 4 tonight. They do want you to be set up by like, 3:30. They say 3, but nobody does that. I think they just want to get people, ready, set to go type of thing. But you start loading after 9. So the first thing I have to do this morning is take Larry to daycare for the weekend. I won't be home and Steve's hours are so erratic that, it's just better for him to go to daycare. So he'll be going today, Friday morning, and I'll pick him up Monday evening. So he loves it there. It's fine. Sorry, my furnace just kicked on, so you're going to hear that now, of course. I'm not turning off because it's freaking cold outside. The daycare where Larry goes is about probably like 12 minutes away from the venue where I'm going. So I'm just going to take what's already loaded in my car there right after I drop him off. And then I gotta drive 40 minutes back home-ish, 40-ish minutes back home, pack up the rest of the stuff, which isn't a whole lot, and then get back down there, grab some food, head to the venue. Tomorrow and Sunday there is going to be a food vendor there for us to purchase from, but not tonight because the restaurant's open on Fridays, so they have to be at the restaurant. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I slept last night, but I woke up and I'm like, it's time. So I'm excited. I look forward to this one all year. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm assuming it's going to go well. I don't want to assume, but fingers crossed, all the fingers crossed, legs, toes, arms, all of it crossed. Larry is now on a raw food diet because of some tummy issues. He loves it, of course, but I think he would love any food. I'm hoping it's only temporary because it's expensive. But you know what, a lot of dog kibble is expensive now too, like everything else in the world. So that's a new thing for the daycare to have to deal with, but I know a lot about the dogs eat raw, so it's fine. Larry must have heard me talking in the kitchen because I can tell he's awake already. And he knows he's going somewhere. So watch how excited he gets. Good morning. There's a big voice. Good morning. Yes, I know it's early for you. Okay, big voice. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. He doesn't even want scratchies today because he knows he's going somewhere. Good morning. Good morning, sir. On a typical day, this lasts for about 15 to 20 minutes. This. Happy snorts. You happy snorty. You happy snorty boys. Give my money kisses? Oh yes, thank you. Hi. Hi, I know you're too excited today. Are you too excited? You can go daycare? I knew you wouldn't last long. You just want to leave. You just want to go to daycare. You just want to go. You're just so excited for daycare. I know. Oh my goodness. You're just so excited. I guess we're leaving. Oh boy, go sit. Okay. 8:45 in the morning and we are headed off to daycare. He knows his favorite words. And then after that, as I said, I'm going into the city to the venue to unload the first load. And you can kind of see back there. Where are we right now? Where are we? Are we at daycare? I'm back home from unloading the first trip in Stratford. It was nice that they opened the, loading time at 9 a.m. The rec center is operated by the town, so I'm just assuming it's always open at 9. I don't know, but that's awesome. So nice to have that. Of course, before I went and got a little bit of breakfast at McDonald's, got a bacon and egg McMuffin, hash brown, orange juice, just so my sugars wouldn't go low. I do have hypoglycemia where my sugars drop. So I went to the thrift store right after McDonald's because it's right next door, and I got myself a cute little rattan chair. I love these. I have one up there where my bat is. You can see him up there. This one's a smaller version, but that's okay. Probably put a plushie on it up there. I was so excited about it. I seen it first thing, and I even ran into my 3rd grade teacher. I think she taught me grade 3, Mrs. Clifford. I was like, "Are you Mrs. Clifford?" She was like, "Hi." I said, "You taught me at school." And she was like, "Are you Melissa?" And I had said, "You recognize me?" And she goes, "Your eyes." And I said, "Yeah, I've always had these big eyes." So that was so fun to see her. I think about her often. I told her that. So she was like, "Thank you for saying hi. I always appreciate when students do that." And with my grandmother being a teacher, I know that. So I was happy to see her. So that was so nice. At the other thrift store, I got this for my mother-in-law for Christmas or her birthday. They're chicken farmers, as I've told you before. Every time I see like a decor piece like this, I just buy it. I don't know if she'll display it or anything. I only know she'll like it. I'm sure she will like it. I don't know if she'll display it, but she has lots of roosters and chickens around the house. And then a friend of mine, she does something really cool for her little business that she does. She's very creative. She is an illustrator. But at craft shows and stuff, she sells her original artwork, but then she also sells upcycled books that she makes into journals. I have one that I've showed you before. I traded for one recently, so I'll show you that in a second. But in Stratford today, I was able to find 19 books for her. I called her on FaceTime and I was like, "Check these out." So, we did rapid fire. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. She said yes to most of them, so $19. I got her 30 books that she can upcycle. And, at Value Village, they're buy 4, get the 5th one for free, so that worked out nicely. And they're all really nice, so they're all mainly characters and stuff. And I had said, if I find another Ratatouille one, you're going to make me something. But I didn't find another Ratatouille one. But that's okay. So I was happy to get those for her. She's already paid me back. You'll see this on my November market video. But this is a journal that she made, and did we trade? I think we kind of traded, somewhat. So I had said, if you have anything Ratatouille, save it for me, because this is one of my favorite Disney movies. So she takes the books, she keeps all the pages in there, but then she grabs books that, just didn't work for another project, and she puts lined paper on one side, and then she makes it into like a cute little journal. And then throughout the book, there is different lined pages. So I thought that was such a cute idea. She knows I thrift a lot, and she was like, "When you're in a thrift store next?" And I was like, "Of course, no problem." That's mine to keep. And it was successful loading in because of the foldable wagon that my friend loaned me for the weekend. Thank God for foldable wagons. It's such day 2 of the market, but let's recap last night just for fun. The first thing to sell was before the market. There was a nice vendor who sells books or something, and she came over and she was like, "I was so upset last year when I couldn't get over here because of how busy we all were, and then you were basically sold out. I was like, yes. So she bought the cream pink hexagon cardigan from me. If I do have photos of them, I will put them here, but some I just didn't take photos of because I didn't have the time or make the time. And the next thing to sell was my favorite customer from last year. And she's my favorite customer because 1, she's hilarious, and 2, she bought 3 of them last year. So that was exciting. So I said to her, I was like, oh, nice sweater, because, you know, she was wearing her sweater she bought last year, her favorite one. And she was like, oh, what? I was hoping you weren't here so I wouldn't spend so much money. But I'm glad you're here so I can spend some money. She was so sweet. So she tried almost everything on. It was so funny. And all the other vendors are like, oh my god, the lady was like raving and like she spent so much time with you. And I was like, last year she bought 3, so she loves them clearly. And she ended up going with the one I want to save for myself, but that's okay. Is this one here, black and pink? I can remake that one. I do have the yarn still. And I had said to her, I said, did you know that they added Sunday this year? She goes, no. I said, oh, I get to see you 3 days in a row then. I'll see you tomorrow and I'll see you on Sunday. And she's like, ha ha. But probably. So we'll see if she comes back. The next one to sell, the lady seen it on the reel that I just showed you that I had made. And she came in, she was like, oh, I hope it's still here. I hope it's still here. Right? And I said, well, I've sold 2 so far. And she goes, oh, no, just my luck. It's going to be the one that I really wanted. So she's looking through. She didn't want to say which one it was. It's like jinx herself. It was pretty funny. And it was this one here. I know I have a picture of it. It was like the, what they call it, warmth and wheat. I had it on my website for a while, but she's seen it on the reel. She loved it. She had to come get it. So that was really nice. The next one to sell, to nobody's surprise. I mean, I was surprised it didn't go first, but that's okay. People seen what they really wanted, and, you know, everybody has a different taste. The next one to sell was the orange crush ombre cardigan. Not the grading stitch, but the fancier stitch. She hummed and hawed between the 2 of them, but she liked, she liked the one with, like, the 4-row repeat the best. Next thing to sell was one of my beanies, finally. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to sell those. Crazy. People love them, but like, there's no end up buying them. I'm only selling those for 15, so like, come on, people. So somebody bought them for her little brother. I don't know how well it's going to fit a little child. I told her that, but she wanted to buy it anyway. So that's fine. She was a teenager, so she could make that decision. It was purple and gray with the double palms. I don't have pictures of them. Next up, I did a trade with my next door booth neighbor. She's seen the heart cardigan that I have, this one here. She was like, I love it. I have to buy it. And she was like, okay, here's the money. And I said, you know what, let me see what you have. Maybe we'll do a trade. So we ended up doing a trade. I got a really nice, like a book bag, I guess, like a canvas bag. There's a butterfly on it. I love butterflies. And what else did I get? Like a little mystery pack of supplies for bookish people or whatever. So basically, one of everything of her booth. I might keep that for me. I might give it to my best friend. She does a lot of reading. And then I also got a blind date with a book, which I might give away for Christmas or I might keep for myself. I don't know yet. I just thought they were really pretty and I might just keep it wrapped up. Because she decorated it so nicely. Everything that I trade for or buy, I'll show at the end of the market recap stuff. And next up, this nice girl came through and she goes, I seen your reel and there was like 4 sweaters I really loved. And they all had granny squares with like flowers on them. And I was like thinking to myself, son of a bee. Because all year I've been saying everyone wants blanket cardigans. But now everybody this year is like, I love the flower granny squares. I'm like, why? But hopefully today everybody wants the big fluffy cardigans because I have a lot of them, as you've seen. So this girl went with, she was humming and hawing between like the dark purple one, but she ended up going with this one. Because I had said to her, honestly, the only person that could pull off like that color cardigan has to be a blonde person. And you have blonde hair. And she goes, oh my god, you're right. I never even thought about that. And her friend that was with her, she goes, let me try it on because she had dark hair. And the blonde girl was like, yeah, you're right. So she tried it back on. She tried it on a few times and she's like, you're right. It's just so beautiful on me. So that was really nice. So that was everything that sold last night. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for money, 1 trade, and 1 beanie. So I'm headed out the door for day 2. The market is officially over. I just finished up day 3, got things unloaded almost. I'm not going to load a lot of things just because I have another market this weekend. I'm taking all the plushies and the leftover sweaters. So basically everything that I have. Last night when I came home, so like on Saturday, it was from 9 to 4 on Saturday, and I quickly recorded what sold, but I went through it so fast that I was so tired, I'm not going to be able to edit that video. So I'm just going to do that now, and then we'll also do today's recap. So Fridays was good. Like I did that already. So let's talk about Saturday. Saturday was from 9 until 4. And it's so nice to have a venue like this where you can, leave your stuff there and not have to worry about it because everything's locked and secured and yada yada. You don't have to pack up each day. So thank God. So on Saturday, the first thing to sell was a gray and purple double pom beanies. That was exciting. I sold quite a few this weekend. I think I have one right now, but I have 4 cat ear beanies I could put pom-poms on. The first sweater to sell was the solid color orange, is orange leaf. I guess I should scoot over so I can put pictures in here for you of what sold. I think I have, as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure I have pictures of most of the cardigans, but I might not. The one to sell right after that was the remaining, what was I calling it? The Harvest / the Orange Crush Ombre, the one in the granny stitch. I think I have a photo of it. No, maybe I don't. I don't think I do because that's the last one I finished. So you can picture it. It was beautiful. That's all you need to know. The next one to sell, my favorite customer came back, the one I told you came on Friday. And then remember I had said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And then she was like, no, you won't. So she came back and she's like, you were right, you see me today. And I said, well, you come 3 days and I'll come back tomorrow, Sunday. I didn't see her today, but that's okay. So she came back and she was like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I have to get one of those big fuzzy ones. I really love that one. The one I was trying on yesterday. And it was the one from Abracadabra Apricot. I believe I have a picture of it. Next up, I sold the purple sparkle cardigan I had made earlier this year, I think in the spring. And I asked the lady, I said, oh, you didn't try it on. Do you want to try it on? Make sure it fits. She goes, oh, it's for my mother-in-law. Her favorite color is purple. This will fit her perfectly. And even if it doesn't, it's fine because, it's just like oversized and cozy. I was like, exactly. Next one to sell is one of my favorite ones was the teal, like the jade, like off shade that I have. I guess you can see it right behind my shoulder over there. That one. And the lagoon for that baby blanket. This one here, that sold. A girl walked past, she was like, oh, those are my colors. And then she was like, I have to buy this. And I said, well, try it on first. And she goes, oh, okay, I'll try it on. So she tried it on, it fit perfectly. So she was excited. Next up, the nice lady bought the Lunar sweater. I really want to keep that one for myself, but I can always make another one for me. I did shorten the sleeves on it for her. I took my hooks just because, well, something to work on during the lulls, which didn't really happen very much. I think I got 2 hats done all weekend. It was busy. And I had said, do you want me to shorten the sleeves? Because they were pretty long on her, and they were long on me when I wore it too. And she goes, would you mind? She goes, do I need to come back tomorrow to get it? I said, nope, not at all. I said, it's going to take me 20 minutes to do. Just walk around the show. Next up, my least favorite one sold, and I was thankful for that, so I don't have to look at it anymore. It was the Navy and Countryside. It's the one I lost yarn chicken on, so like the trim was like a dark gray. It didn't match at all. But it was one of my dad's friends, and I know her from childhood. And then she was like, Melissa, and I was like, oh my goodness, Shelly, how are you? So she wanted to buy one last year with her sister, but she came in the last hour, and I had nothing left last year. So she was like, I had to make sure I got here the second day of the event rather than the last day. So that worked out great. She bought that one from me. I took $5 off only because she didn't have enough cash, but I was like, $5 is fine for you, no problem. So that was really sweet. It was nice to see her. I keep getting distracted because I put a little disco ball in my window here in a sunset-ish right now. So all the rainbow fractals on my ceiling are just so beautiful. You know what, I'm going to pause and then I'm going to show you. So you can see in my window I put a little disco ball, and just the rainbow fractals are so beautiful. And that was my plan. I even put some extra yarn on the string of the disco ball so I could get more rainbow fractals in here. And you can see it in the corner over there too, near my old skeins. My vintage skeins. Let me spin this so you can see how cool it looks. I just love that so much. And then of course the ones in the window there are from my sun catcher. I just think it's so pretty. I have one in the kitchen that was my grandmother's, and that kind of actually gave me this idea to put one in here as well because the sun shines so nicely from the window around this time of day. Being someone with ADHD, I really love sensory things like that. So, not so much touch. I'm not a touch person, but visuals like that, or I guess mainly it is visual for me. Visual mixed with sounds, I think, are just wonderful. Okay, where were we? See, I got distracted. I think I was turning the page and I was looking up there. right after that. It was so cute. There was a family of 3 shopping, and the husband was holding up all cardigans, and while his wife was shopping somebody else's booth, and she's like, give me a minute, I'll be right over. So we held up one, and then she was like, oh yes, that's it, I have to have that one. And I was like, well, come try it on, right? And then she was like, okay, I'll try it on, but I like them oversized, so it's fine. And I could wear this over my hoodie. And I was like, yes, you could. And it was the cardigan from the 31 skeins and 31 days from last December. And that was so much fun. So I told her the story about, you know, how I did like a series or whatever with myself. I didn't mention my YouTube channel. And I had said there's basically 31 different skeins in here because I added like a new skein every so often. And she was like, oh, that's so cool. So it's one of a kind. I said, all these are. I said, I freehand everything. Can't make that one again. Definitely not. So she was excited about that. After that, the blue ombre one sold. The one I did with a Suzette stitch. The lady came past and she kept walking past. I could see her a few times. She did a few laps around the place. It was a really large venue. And she was like, I'm going to regret not buying that if I don't buy it tonight. Do you think it would be left over tomorrow? Because we're coming back tomorrow. I was like, honestly, so many people have tried it on and it's going to get scooped up soon. And she was like, okay, I have to buy it. So she bought that one from me, and that was really sweet. And then as she was purchasing that, her friend that was with her, she was like, I have a small head, but I also have alopecia, so I have no hair. Can I try that hat on? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So I don't even know if I don't think I have a picture of this hat, but I had made it with a Michael's yarn. It was like the recycled ones. I don't remember what they're called. Next up, I sold my mistletoe jingle cardigan, this one here. I made this one last year and I had all my events, but it didn't sell. It is very busy. But the girl that bought it, she was like, I was hemming and hawing on this one last year, or one just like this. I said, this is the one from last year. And she goes, and you still have it? I have to buy it. I've been thinking about it all year. And then when I seen your reel that you posted, I seen it in there and I was like, oh, we got to get there. She goes, but I couldn't come last night. So I'm so glad it's still here. So she was so excited. She bought it on the spot. She's like, I don't even care if it fits perfectly. I just need it. So I was like, oh, thank you so much. So that was very exciting for her to buy that one. Next one to sell, somebody really appreciated the whimsy and the bit of craziness with this one here. I guess I gotta scoot over again. This one here, it was the one where I put the baubles on the mini succulent yarn. And she was like, what do you call these? And I said, is it called the bauble stitch? And she goes, it's weird and wacky. And is there any other like it? And I said, no. I said, that's the only one I did. I told her, I had said, I think I had made like 6 cardigans in a row and like that month or whatever, because right after I lost my job. And she was like, so you just wanted to do something different, so you added baubles? And I said, yeah, that's exactly it. She goes, okay, I gotta get that one because it's weird and wacky. And then the last sale of the day, as we were getting ready to leave, this woman comes up to me and she goes, I seen somebody else try this on, that skinny blonde girl, the Barbie girl. And I had said, yeah, she's somebody I know. And I said, yeah, she does look like Barbie, I agree. She goes, it was really oversized on her. Do you think it would fit me? And I had said, it fits me with like a little bit extra room. And she and I are about the same size. She was just a bit taller. And she was like, I liked how long it was on her, so I think on me it'd be perfect. And it fit her to a T perfectly. So she was like, okay, I have to buy it. And then her boyfriend, husband, whomever was like, no, I'm going to buy it for you because you won't tell me what you want for Christmas. And he's like, well, make sure you forget about it so you think it's a surprise at Christmas. So that was really sweet that he bought it for her. She was so excited. And then my usual market friend, Lori, that goes to the farmer's market, they were there visiting just to see how I was doing and, check out the market themselves, her and her husband. And she texted me afterwards. She goes, when we were leaving, there was a girl in front of us. She had one of your cardigans in her bag and she was so excited. And I had said, I know which one you're talking about. So that was just so nice to hear that, she was so happy with her cardigan. She was leaving with it. I wonder if it'll make it till Christmas or if she's going to get it beforehand from her boyfriend, husband, spouse person. That was so fun. So that was 12 that I sold on Saturday from 9 till 4. Let's try a different angle where there's more light on me. It's a little dark back there right now because the window's right here. Okay, so let's move on to today's sales. Today was from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And oh my God, did it fly by. Like they had announced, like the event organizers had a microphone for the loudspeaker system. And they had said, okay, shoppers, half an hour, left the shop or closed at 1. And we all looked at each other like, oh my God, it's already 12:30 because like it felt like we were there for 5 minutes. It was so packed full of people. I was a little worried about today because this is the first year they had the Sunday, like I said. But oh my God, the people come out to shop today. Today, I sold 14 cardigans from 9 till 1 p.m. and some beanies. So let's go over the sales. So the first thing to sell of the day, again, was a double pom-pom beanie. A young girl was like, I need that. I need it. And it suited her. You can tell she liked alternative things. So that was really cool. The next thing I sold was a cardigan to another vendor, and it was the one out of the Mystical yarn, I think in the color Berries. I believe I have a photo of it, this one here. And she was like, I seen it the other night when you were setting up, and oh my goodness, it was so beautiful. And I thought, you know what, if she still has it Sunday morning after I've made some sales, I'm gonna buy it. And it's still here. So she tried it on. She was like, would you mind shortening the sleeves? Like, can you do that? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So I took out 2 or 3 rows for her and, you know, just tightened up the cuffs a bit. The next thing to sell, I wasn't sure if it was gonna sell, is this one here. I know I have a photo because it was on my website. And I wasn't sure if it was going to sell or not, just because like it's a different style. It's the only one I ever made. I did a corner to corner rectangle, and I made it into a cocoon cardigan. And it turned out really nice. And a young girl walked past, she goes, oh, those colors. She goes, what is this yarn called, out of curiosity? Because I know they have different names. And I said, it's the stupidest name. This one is called Beach Towel by Bernat Blanket Patchwork. She goes, beach towel? Who the hell wants to wear a beach towel? And I was like, I know. So I said, on my website, I call it Painted Daydream. And then she's like, yeah, that's much better than beach towel. So I said, yeah, I agree. So she bought that for me. She was like, oh, I just can imagine a tea in my hand, my book in the other hand, me being all cozy. And I was like, I can picture it too, girl. So that was really exciting. I did hear from other people throughout the weekend of, you know, my friend was here yesterday, bought a cardigan from you. They put it on their Instagram stories and tagged you, so I had to come see you. So the power of social media really works. The next thing to sell was my retro 70s cardigan. I know a picture of that one. That's a really sweet, I love that one. That was the Bernat Super Easy Red Heart Super Easy stripes in the color something. I don't remember because I had that yarn for a long time because I got to test it for the swatches beforehand. So I kept what I liked and gave the rest back, which wasn't much, but it was nice to have that cardigan. A young girl seen it and she was like, that's so 70s. I wasn't alive then. I said, well, neither was I. And then she goes, but I love it. I have to have it. So she tried it on. It fit her perfectly. She was like a tiny woman, and it went down probably like to the, you know, like just below her butt. On me, it was probably like, it was a lot shorter, but that's okay. The next sale was a really fun one because it was somebody who fell in love with it as soon as she seen it. Like I seen her clock like this cardigan from like probably like 30 feet down the aisle, and she goes, oh, is that a purple cardigan? Or like a purple blanket? Or I said, well, they're cardigans. I call my blanket hug. And then she goes, I have to come over and try it on. Is that okay? I said, yeah, absolutely. Please try it on. I've been encouraging people because I had my like tall mirror with me. And it fit her perfectly. She goes, these are all my favorite colors. And she goes, oh, have you ever seen yarn so perfect? And I was like, honestly, I do love this yarn. It was Bernat Blanket Patchwork in the color Purple Party. I'm pretty sure it's Purple Party. I'm pretty sure it's Patchwork. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Patchwork. And she loved it. She looked so good on her. It fit her perfectly. So that was just freaking wonderful. The next thing to leave, technically, I've made a trade, and I'll show you those items in just a second, was the wispy white cardigan. And that was Bernat Blanket tie-dye-ish. That's the one. I got it on a yarn haul when I went down to London, Ontario from Facebook Marketplace. So she's seen it, and it was so funny. I had seen something at her booth, and I approached her for a trade. I think people are afraid to approach for trades because they don't want to seem rude, but I don't know. I don't think it's rude. I love approaching people for trades. I do it all the time. And the worst they could do is say no, right? And that's fine. I don't mind at all. You know, I always say no pressure. I said I'd like to offer trades, but, you know, if you'd rather me just purchase it and you don't have to purchase something from me, you know, I do that speech first, and then I say I make crochet cardigans and stuff like that. So it was so funny. I approached this woman because she wasn't at her booth when I was first there, like looking at her stuff and falling in love. It was so funny. It was just the way it worked out was so cute. So I finally seen her like back in her space. Like she wasn't near me, so I kind of made my way back over there before things got crazy. And I had said, hi, I'm Melissa. I make really comfy, big crocheted cardigans. I was wondering if you'd be interested in a trade. And her and her son look at each other because her son, who's probably like 20, was helping her. And she goes, those big cozy cardigans down there that I was just looking at and fawning over that I really want. And it was so funny. And I was like, I believe so, because I'm the only one in that aisle with crocheted cardigans. There was another girl selling like crocheted ponchos. She had like 4 or 5 of them. So that worked out great. And I was like, yeah, yes. And she was like, okay, well, let me follow you over to your booth. She goes, oh yeah, this is it. So she was like, I'm really torn between the wispy white cardigan that she ended up going with. And then she's also trying on, oh, it was a solid mint. It was the off shade mint that I've had forever. She didn't end up going with that one. She liked the white one most. That's the one she liked first. And then I did shorten the sleeves for her because they were much too long on her for sure. So I took out, I think, 5 rows and then just made the cuffs a little bit tighter for her. Next up, this is not something I would normally do, but that being said, this girl came over and she was trying on basically every single cardigan that was left over. And ended up deciding on this cardigan here, this blue ombre one that I have had probably for 3 years now. I had it on my Facebook Marketplace, and I've had it on Facebook Marketplace for 2 years, and then on my website, and nobody at in-person events or even on when I had it on Etsy would bite on it, like at all. No interest. Nobody ever looked at it even, right? And she was like, oh, I love this one. It's so beautiful. Or should I get the purple one? Because I had two, blue and a purple. I'll put the pictures here. And I was like, honestly, if you buy one of them, I'm going to give you the other one for free. And she was like, oh my God, why? And I said, because I've had them for 3 years. Those are my oldest cardigans that I have. And nobody's ever even looked at them. She's like, oh my God, why? And I was like, I don't know. I said, I don't know. They're so cute. But she was like, okay, well, sold. I'll buy the blue one. And then you said you give me the purple one because my daughter is the same size as me and I'm sure she would love the purple. I said, you know what? That's even perfecter because send me a photo on Instagram. I said, I'm not going to share it anywhere. I won't share it on my socials or with anyone. I said, I would just love to see you two together side by side in those cardigans because I've had them for 3 years. And she was like, I would love to do that for you. So she did. She sent it to me when she got home. And that was just so sweet of her. So they looked really cute on them. And her and her daughter look exactly like she had said. So that was really cool to see those finally to be enjoyed after 3 years of having them in stock. The next thing to sell, I was also excited to sell because it really needed the right person. And it was royal blue with like a, I don't know, it's like a rainbow, rainbow acrylic, like it was an acrylic yarn. I had made it last year for the fairy market I did in October. And people looked at it, you know, and I've had people try it on, but then they see something else they like more. And this woman was like, oh, these are my colors. They're bright and wild. And I'm an elementary school teacher. All my kids are like, the little kids are going to love this. And I was like, perfect. So she bought it without question. I mean, she tried it on. She's like, yep, have to have it. So that was great. Okay, after the rainbow and blue one was the plum, like that off shade deep purple plum that I have, and the berry mystical one. It was a stripe. And this girl, it was so funny. She was looking at it, and then she kept looking at me funny. And I thought, okay, maybe she recognizes me from, you know, my old business or somewhere else or social media, who knows, right? And she goes, I have to ask, did you sell me a dragon behind City Hall? And I was like, yes, in the summer. Yeah, that's right. I said, I do recognize you. So I was like, thanks for saying that because, you know, I seen you like kind of contemplating. And then she goes, would you mind shortening the sleeves on this one like you did for that last lady? And I said, yes, no problem. So she actually sat down in the booth, like she sat on the floor next to me while I was doing it. We were chatting, and she's a music teacher, and that was really fun. And then she bought a beanie while she was standing there. She's like, do you mind if I just like sit on your floor like right here? I know it's weird. I said, it's not weird at all. I said, I'd love some company. Thank you. And she said, I don't want to walk around and spend more money. I said, oh, girl, I understand. So sit down. So she sat with me and we chatted for a bit. So that was really nice. The next one to sell was a woman who was just teeny tiny, but she was like, it's so cozy. I can't put it down. I can't take it off. And she was like, I'm going to wear it out of here. And she did. So that was really sweet of her. And it was the pink ombre. Pink ombre. It was the pink ombre one. It was beautiful. I don't know if I have a photo of that one, but if I do, it's right here for you. She goes, where are you from? And I had said, you know, up in this area. And she was like, oh, I'm 20 minutes from you. And I said, well, if you ever want the sleeves shortened, just send me a message on my socials or an email. I'm happy to do that for you. I'll come to your house, enjoy a glass of your wine. Not really, because I hate wine. And I had said I could just do it in 5 minutes for you. And then her friend that was with her, she bought 2 cardigans from me. So that was really fun. She bought the granny square. It was navy. And I put a few little pieces of color on it. I have a picture. So it's this one here. And then she was like, you know what? I'm going to get 2 because I can't leave without that green hexagon cardigan. And it's this one here. I love that green one. I was going to keep it for myself if it didn't sell, but that's okay. I can always make another one. The next one to sell, this woman, she was so funny. She was like, you know, when you go out and you tell your spouse that I'm going to go Christmas shopping, I'm not going to buy anything for myself, but then you find something you have to have. And I was like, is it something you have to have, one of my cardigans? She was like, yes. I can't walk away without this because it reminds me so much of my childhood in the 90s. And I was like, that yarn is called Bernat Blanket Patchwork 90s Vibes. She's like, are you serious? So I showed her like the Yarn Inspirations website. She goes, now I have to have it. I absolutely have to have it. I don't know how I'm going to explain it to my husband. He can give it to me for Christmas. I said, exactly. I said, that's what I do to my husband. You're just helping him out because he doesn't know what to get you, just like Steve doesn't know what to get me. So that was really fun. She was like, I'm so excited about this. I've never seen anything like this. And I was like, I got you, girl. I said, if you ever need something else that's just as unique and wild and crazy, I'm your girl. The next one is, I made it for Valentine's Day drop earlier this year. It was the off-shade plum with some stripes. I have a picture of it for sure. So this one here, she really wanted to try the one that was on my mannequin. I got a mannequin this year, as you've seen in the video. Her name is Bonnie. I don't know why it is, but it is. That's the name I came up with for her. So she goes, can I try that one on? And I said, sure, no problem. But I was like checking out the last 4 people, like right in a row. And she goes, I can wait, no problem. And then I seen her like kind of eye up this one that she ended up buying. And she was like, and I started taking the pink one off of Bonnie. She's like, oh, never mind. I really want this one. These are my colors. And I had said, perfect. I said, it does look nice on you. And it fit her perfectly. So she walked away with that one. Well, paid for it and walked away with it. And then the last sale of the day was this sweet older couple. They were just so cute. And this woman must have been 80s, maybe like mid 80s. And she goes, I really want to support you because it's such a lost art, crochet. And, you know, you don't see people making wearables out of it anymore like I used to back in the 70s. And especially like, you know, this type. And she goes, do you have anything that's neutral? And I had said, I have one left. I said, I have this brown one and brown and black. I'm sure I have a picture of it. I said, I have this one left. That's the only neutral. This is everything I had left from the weekend. I came with 50 cardigans and this is what's left. And she had said, okay, I'll try it on. So she was so cute. So she tried it on and she was admiring herself in the mirror. And her husband was like, ah, that's really nice. Right? He goes, I can't really see it, but I'm sure it's nice. It was so cute. So she bought that one from me. That was everything that sold. I'm going to turn my light on for the next clip because it's getting dark in here. It just popped in my head that I forgot one because I seen the yarn on the shelves. And I was like, oh, I never talked about that one. So I forgot to write it down. And it was this one here. I'm pretty sure I have a picture of it. Such a beautiful yarn. The reason I forgot to write it down is because I sold it Saturday, like late on Saturday. And they were like, the girl that tried it on, it fit her perfectly. It was so beautiful on her. She had gorgeous like Irish red hair and green eyes. And she's so gorgeous. And she had said, I love this, but I don't love the sleeves. And I said, oh, would you want me? I said, I have more of that yarn. I had said, I can take it home tonight and, you know, kind of, you know, make it the way you want it. And she goes, is that too much to ask? Can you do that in an evening? I said, no problem. So she just wanted cuffs added to it. I never got a picture of it because I was too tired last night. So basically I just put some ribbed cuffs on her, on the sweater for her. And I think I added like 4 inches in length. So like 4 inches of cuffs. I did it front post, back post style instead of doing, you know, like single crochet ribbing. I just like that look better on hexagon cardigans. So that was nice that she, you know, had the courage to ask me to do that because, you know, she's hemming and hawing. I could tell something was off. And I was like, you look beautiful in that. She goes, yes, I just don't love the sleeves. So I was happy to do that for her. And she picked it up today from me. Her mom ended up paying me for it. And they had said, can we give you extra for that extra work? And I said, $15 extra is okay. That's fine. And they're like, per sleeve? Because they were willing to pay that. And I said, no, just give me an extra $15. I said, I'll take it home and I'll do that for you. No problem at all. When she tried it on today, she's like, perfection. I love it so much now. And I said, perfect. Okay, great. So she picked it up for me today. So I forgot to mark it down as a sale on Saturday, but that's okay. But in total, I may have forgot 1 or 2 because today was so crazy. But what I have written down for today was 14 cardigans sold, and since that one was picked up today, I'll count it towards today. So I'll say 15 for Sunday, 12 for Saturday, technically 6 Friday night, but one of them being a trade. So whatever. Leaving my booth this weekend was 32 or 33 cardigans. And I think I had started with 50. I didn't sell any of my resort wear, my summer collection. I took the bucket hats. I took the like the cover-ups, like the swimsuit cover-ups. None of them sold. They got some attention, but none sold, but that's okay. It's the wrong time of year for those. But I thought, you know, if somebody's going on a tropical vacation and they need like resort wear, that's perfect. I'm going to film what I bought / traded for. I wish I could eliminate the shadow because it always looks like I have a beard. And I don't. I mean, sure, I have a few whiskers, but, you know, that's PCOS for you. So let's talk about what I trade / bought over the weekend. There was a few trades, there was a few purchases. So my next door booth neighbor, her name was Amanda. I had never met her before, and she does like book themed things. So she sells to like book readers, basically. She had bookmarks, she had like those vinyl cups that people love, and just anything and everything related to books. She had these really cool things, and I was like, what the heck is this thing? And it was like this long, and it had a hole in the middle. She goes, it's a page holder. And I thought, well, it's not a binder clip that doesn't hold your pages. She goes, well, for one-handed readers, you're reading a paperback, and you know, you have your paperback like this, and then you put your thumb in that hole, and it holds the pages open. I was like, I was like, a page opener, it spreads it for you. And she's like, yeah, it's a spreader. I was like, okay. I was like, that is such a cool idea. I said, I'd never heard that before. I said, did you come up with that idea? Did you invent that? And she goes, no. I said, okay, I just don't read. I don't really, I'm not a reader. Like, I'll listen to audiobooks once in a while, but I'm more of a YouTube binger, as we've all learned about me. And then she was like, would you be interested in a trade? And I was like, sure, okay. I said, you have some things that my best friends would love, and yeah, I'm sure I can find something in your booth for myself. She grabbed, oh yeah, it was the heart cardigan. It was this one here. And then from her, I ended up getting a book bag for myself. I'll use it for something, probably a yarn bag. And I just love butterflies. And it says, I don't even know, make your dreams happen. So I thought that was really cute. So I got that for myself. And then I also got something for myself, but I haven't looked through it. I'm not going to. I'm going to save it for Christmas. I'm a good girl. It's like a variety pack of, I don't know, her products. I just like the colors. I think it's pink. I don't even know, because like I just was like, I'll grab this. I'm not going to look at it. And I still haven't. I've been a good girl because in this bag, so I can't see it. Then what else? Also from her, I got another bag. I seen this just today. Like, the first thing I just showed you was on Friday night. And then, like, you know, as her stock depleted, I seen more of her bags. And then I have an aunt who collects nutcrackers. Like, it's her Christmas thing. Along her big window in her apartment, she has, like, probably close to 70 nutcrackers. So I was like, you know what? I got to get that for her. So it says, y'all are nuts. So I thought that was cute. She'll like that. I don't like it, but that's okay. It's for my aunt. And then also from her, I got a blind date with a book, and I'll give this to my best friend for Christmas. It has like a bookmark, it has 3 pens, it has like a page holder, like a clip. Something else I bought was from Mother Butter, and these are shortbread cookies. There is 10 of them in the sleeve, and you pay $20. And people are like, oh my god, $2 a cookie? But I've been thinking about these all year since last year. So I was like, oh my god, she's here again. So I bought the toffee ones like I did last year. My husband was like, can I have one? I was like, you can have one. Because they're $2 for a cookie, and they're mine. And he was like, oh, best shortbread I've ever had. So I had to hide them from him. Something I purchased was a really sweet vendor. I was talking to her because I was in a corner, and then she was kind of off to the side where I was last year. And I was like, how's your weekend going? Right. And then she was like, oh, this is the first time I've done this event. My cousin does this event. I said, you look like Kelly from the candy shop store, right? She goes, yeah, that's my cousin. And I said, I knew it. When she said cousin and her cousin does this show, I was like, ha. So that was funny. And she makes resin thingies. So I got a turtle. I love turtles. So I was like, she was like, I have a few more. Do you want to see them? I said, are they all like this color? Or you have pink and purple? She goes, no, I had them all like turtle colors. And she goes, well, here's 2 that you know, which one do you want? She said, the way resin works. I said, don't worry. I said, I've watched resin videos on YouTube because I love watching those. And I said, this is the first one I see and this first one I love. So I'm going to take this one. And it has like glitter in it too. So I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I showed Steve and he's like, oh, look, an ashtray. We don't smoke. I was like, I don't think resin would work for an ashtray. I mean, it might. I don't know. It's a trinket tray. Honestly, I probably might mount this to my wall with like some command strips because it's cute. How cute would that look on the wall? Just like, you know, swimming. I thought it was so cute. So I had to buy that from her. I purchased it for $15. I'm going to save my favorite purchase for last, but I had to go grab something else. So the lady that bought the wispy white cardigan from me, well, traded, I guess. So the wispy white one, this one. She does scroll saw art, so like woodworking. And she had the most adorable little animals. And you watch my channel, you know I love cows. I grew up in a dairy farm and I love them and I miss them so much. So I seen this and I was like, I have to have that. So I got this from her and I was like, can I take my items now? Because I don't want them to sell. I need this. And she was like, sure. And she was like, you know, when I make things that are so cute, I'll be out in the garage just giggling to myself because you're like, hey, it's so cute. And then my sons are like, what'd you make cute now, Mom? She said she has 5 sons. I was like, oh my God, you poor girl. She's like, oh, they're all in their 20s now, so it's not so bad now. But, you know, a lot of hockey injuries as teenagers. And I said, I know what you're talking about. My mother-in-law has 4 boys, no girls. So she goes, oh, yeah, so you get it. And I said, yeah. So I got this from her. And then from my office, well, no, actually, sorry. This one sits flat, so this is from my office. And then a fridge magnet I got is a cow. Look at the little udders. Isn't that hilarious? And I was like, do you cackle, like laugh when you make these little udders? She goes, oh yeah. And like, even when I paint them, it's just so funny. Like, that is funny. So it's a fridge magnet, as I said. And then I got another fridge magnet for my mother-in-law, or I'll probably give my father-in-law so he has something to open. He doesn't care, but you know, it's a little chicken. And as I mentioned before, they're chicken farmers. So every time I see chicken related things, I get it for them. I just need an extra item to get up to the trade amount type thing. I did get a 4th item from her, but I gave it to the girl right next to me because she was saying, and I'm so glad she mentioned this like 5 minutes before this trade, she had said, oh, I went and bought this from another vendor. It's a little cardinal. My daughter loves cardinals. I don't know why. She's 6 years old. She loves cardinals, like the birds. And it was so funny because like this lady, she had like a cardinal up on the shelf and like the little, they were really cute. I wish I had a picture, but I don't. She had cardinals or birds. She had birds basically. And like she had like little chicken feet on them or like bird feet on them. And then like little tiny wooden dowels for legs. So they were like tall. She calls them her leggy buddies or something like that. I was like, those are so funny. She goes, the amount of cackles that come out of my garage from me and my sons help me with these sometimes, that they're our favorite thing to make. And like they sell so fast. That's the last 2 that I have. And I said, well, I'll take one. So that was all the trades I think I had made. And then my favorite thing, oh my goodness, I am so glad I seen this. I didn't see it all weekend and we were packing up. And as I said, I wanted to, you know, pack up slowly. But the lady behind me, and like kind of kitty corner to me, she had some resin art. So kind of like that turtle, but different. She had like, you know, charcuterie boards and like trays and stuff. And I seen this and I was like, how did I not see this when I was walking by earlier? She goes, well, I had it behind other things. And that's probably why it didn't sell. But I've had this for 3 years. Do you love it? And I was like, I have to have that. And she was like, I even had to mark down because originally it was $100. She goes, today I had it marked down for $55. She goes, since you love it and it's my last event of the year, I will sell this to you for $20. I said, no. Let me give you, I think I gave her 30 or 25. I don't remember. But I was like, please, no, 20 is too little, especially since it was 100 originally. And I had said, I will tag you on your socials or whatever when I hang this in my office. Because as you guys know here on my YouTube channel, my room being painted here in my office, I've been decorating with gold. And I think gold looks so good with that deep raspberry color. And I got this from her. And she had 2, but I only got the 1. And because I don't think I could put the second one elsewhere. Look how pretty. So this is like a gold tray plate thing. She has bumper pads because it's supposed to sit on the table. But I'm going to mount it to the wall. Or Steve is anyway. And oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's not super heavy, so it is like mountable. I asked her that. And she said, yeah, I think that would work. I mean, even if I install another shelf and put it on there. Look how beautiful it is. So it's dried flowers inlaid in resin. And I like that she kept like the background gold, like see-through. I don't care how much I would have paid the $55. Absolutely would have paid it. And just look how beautiful that is. I was so excited to see this. If you want any of the links to these businesses, let me know. Some of them don't have social media because this is kind of like their little hobby and they don't have a business. But if you see any of these things that you really love and you want me to link you, comment below and I will absolutely get you any links that I can for these businesses. It's been busy, but you know what? I look forward to this weekend all year and I'm so glad it was so successful, and just seeing the joy on people's faces when they shop my booth was just so joyous for me, you know. I love it with plushies when little kids see them or adults see them, but I love it with cardigans just as much. So it brings me a lot of joy. And it was so nice to sell some of my double pom-pom beanies finally. Like, I was telling people this and they're like, really? They're so cute. And I said, well, I usually have the plushies with me. And they're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense because plushies are cute. We've seen those before. I had a few people ask to buy my penguin, my little mascot that I took with me that I made on Friday. He was winter themed, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to take him with me. And then I had multiple people pick him up for the weekend and be like, how much is this guy? He's not priced. And I said, well, he's my mascot. I wasn't planning on selling him because I did kind of mess him up a bit. But, you know, you're working the round and things shifted a little bit with his belly patch, whatever. And they were like, oh, he looks pretty good to me. And I was like, $75. And they were like, oh. And I was like, honestly, that's why I don't want to sell him. I said, take my card. I make lots of plushies all the time. I'll be at Concordia Club next weekend if you want to see all the plushies I have. And they said, okay, yeah, let me take your card. Because like that's not far of a drive for us. So maybe I'll see some more people, the same people next weekend with the plushies. We'll see. But, you know, it was such a fun weekend. I'm so happy about it. And it's just so nice, one, to sell the cardigans that have been sitting in my basement all year that I've been working on. Of course, I still have a bunch left, but that's okay. And as I said, I'm taking next weekend to the next event. Or, like, if I have any left over from next weekend, I'll end up taking them to the farmer's market and, you know, braving the cold for 1 or 2 Saturdays. We'll see. Hopefully it won't be too cold, but, you know, it's just going to depend what I have left over after next weekend. Thank you so much for watching this market recap. I feel like I've rambled on just enough. And, you know, there's not much else I can say besides it was a great weekend and I loved it. Thank you for watching my video. I appreciate you so much. Please remember that you are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, and the world appreciates having you here. I will see you next Sunday.